Okay, this is the governor weight bracket that I've got up on the screen here. And what I want to do is, I've got a piece of old scrap brass in there, and I want to set my zero. It's going to be a cutter width, because zero is actually right here on the back side of this, but I want to go one cutter width at least beyond, because I don't want to hit my vice jaw. And so I want to set my zero somewhere up over into this corner. So if I come over here, I've got a piece of brass in here. See it or not? Reset. Come on, reset on me. There we go. So I want to come down, and I want to make sure that this cutter, the zero, is at least one cutter width over, so it doesn't hit the back jaw. So I am going to lower that down there and just eyeball it, because there should be plenty of room on that material. I'm just going to stay away from that back jaw. And we're going to move it out. Oh, come on now. Alright, what's going on here? Oh, the limit switch. I haven't hit a limit switch yet. It's a false reading. Right there, and then I'm going to move over that way a little bit. Right there. Should be okay right there. So what I've done is I've set my zero one cutter width at least. I'm beyond that actually, and a cutter width in, so I set it right there. So we should be ready to go except for my Z. So I'm going to zero everything right there. Zero all. Alright. Zero all. Alright, my software's acting goofy, so I'm going to shut this off, shut that off. I'm going to shut everything down. It's done that a couple times here now on me. And I'm going to close out of my software. And end. Alright, so I ended that. Now I'm going to start the software up. Start the machine up. Reset. Reset. And now it's sitting at 0. So I am going to go relative on, turn on 1 inch, and I'm going to move up my Y up, or my Z up 1 inch. Something is not working. Okay, on relative. I do have 1 inch in there, not 0.1, right? 1 inch. Okay. So now I can take my 1 inch feeler, or 1 inch setting tool here. I gotta move out and over, or at least out. And come around till it touches. Right there. I heard my software click again. I'm not exactly sure why it's doing that. I'm going to drop it just to dry run it. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to drop it 500 thousandths. I'm not confident with my software clicking away over here for some odd reason. I'm going to tell it to return to 0, so it should go down an inch. And okay, that looks right. It looks right. But I got a limit switch error. Well, I'm going to have to cut away here and check my switches here. Something is telling me that I got a limit switch. I'm not sure why. I'll have to figure it out. I have to go do some snooping here. I'll be back. Okay, I found the switch that was acting up. It's one of their cheap ass switches that they put on the machine originally. And basically all it is a spring loaded bolt with a wire on it that comes up and touches the bed. And it's on Y-axis. This is the one that's acting up. So it just comes up, touches, but I went and put micro switches in to override those, and those are working fine. So I just unplugged it. It doesn't need to be plugged in anymore because I use micro switches. My micro switches handle that I put in. That's one of the modifications I did to this machine, that I didn't like their cheap ass switches. I can show you one. Here's, take the camera off, put the tripod here, show you what I've done. Alright, so here's the, underneath here on the x-axis, I put this micro switch box in. I've got a hard stop right there, and one at the other end, and then I have an adjustable stop that I can move anywhere I want. Here is, where is it? I'm looking for it. Well, I'll show you the one in the back. Here's their cheap ass micro switch right there, or not micro switch, or their override switch, and it's a bolt that's been turned down to a little pin, and it comes in, and so apparently that's shorted out or making contact or whatever. So I just took and unplugged it because I don't need that one anymore, because I put in my own micro switch override stuff down here, which works like a charm. I really like it. That would be an improvement that they could do on their machine. It's kind of a crappy switch that they put on there. I know they tried to save money. Well, they saved money, but in the same time they made something that doesn't work very well. So we're sitting at 0 now, and I'm going to move it up because I dropped it 500 thousandths. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and just to make sure, I'm going to drop it back down. I just want to make sure. And I'm going to tell it to go to 0 here. Return to 0. And then I'm going to go up. I'm going to go up my 1 inch on incremental on Z and then set my Z. And turn incremental off. Move over. And over. Put my height tool on there. Crank it back up. Right there. And I think I'm gonna crank it up an extra 20. And that's so I have a clean cut when I cut it off the back. Cut the back off of it. So let's see, where's the best spot to set the camera up? I can go drop down. Oh, I did put in a new coolant pump, but I haven't got it. I haven't gotten it to work real well yet. So I'm going to just leave that off, and I'm just going to use my squirt bottle for now. Just got my little squirt bottle here. So we're going to give her a whirl here. Hopefully I don't crash into the vise. Oh, didn't crash into the vise, but I broke my end mill. Got a little carried away with the feed rate. Darn it. So, stop. Return to 0. Reset. Return to 0. Right there. Shoot. So I need to either kick up the RPM or slow the feed rate down. So raise Z up. You can get that tool out of there. It's a double end mill, so I hope the other end is still okay. It was used. It was a used end mill, so can't complain too much. The other end looks okay. Stick that in there. And I gotta go through my program and kick the feed rate, or just turn the feed rate down. So I gotta drop this down again. Return to 0. And take and move my X over, Y over, put my tool on there. Like there. And we'll give it another go. I don't know what this brass is either. It's an old hardness tester block that they standard. They use them so far. They use them down so far. And matter of fact, they could use this even further, but they didn't. They threw them away. So I picked them out of the trash can, and I think if I went and looked up the number here, it would give me what kind of brass it is. So, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to slow that feed rate down this time, and we're going to go. Okay. Did I not go to 0 first and set my height? Stop. Reset. Drop the knee down. Return to 0. There's 0. Oh, I didn't raise my spin quill up an inch. Yeah. I have to do that before I set my Z. Otherwise I'm going to be an inch above everything. Alright. Now we'll get there eventually. It'll be an inch taller now. An inch up. Because that's an inch. And my tool change area is an inch. And that's why I go with an inch. So that's one of the reasons why I go with an inch. So it has to be up and above an inch. Alright, let's try it again. Go. Slow the feed rate down. I'm going to slow her way down. Still not really none too slow, even though I slowed it way down. I must have been really zinging before. Well, I suppose I figured it was brass. I could haul ass. I tend to do that. I did that a lot at work too when I was out in the shop. I'd run things at the max, make chips fly. It's taking a 50-thou cut at a time. I'm going to take the parallels out just in case I screw up. I don't want to dive into my parallels. This will be one set. I don't know if I can squeeze another set out of that or not. But I do have another piece of brass here, another standard, so I'll just cut it in that. I don't sharpen those real small end mills anyway. I only sharpen down to about a 3/16 is about the smallest that I've done. 1/8 inches even. I tried and failed on one. I haven't went back and tried it again. Which I have to set up my tool grinder one of these days and do some end mill sharpening. I do have some end mills that I need to sharpen. This program was nothing more than a bunch of, well, out in the end it was kind of complicated with radiuses, I, J, and K, and But as far as really being complicated to write a program for, it just wasn't hard. Was not hard at all. I draw a map. When I do that, I draw a map out. Basically, something that looks kind of like that. And then I just pretend like I'm behind the cutter and tell it which way to go. I think this might be the last pass and then a finish pass after that. I didn't leave much for a finish pass on it. I think it's only like 3,000 because I climb cut everything, so naturally going to push away. And then after this tool, then we'll spot drill them and drill them. And then from there we'll flip it over, go over to the mill and mill the backside until they drop off. They just run through there with an end mill until they drop out. I put a little bushing around my drawbar up there. It was rattling so bad. And that's what that rattling is right now, that noise. Otherwise it runs, take the drawbar out and run the spindle. I was thinking something was going wrong with my spindle. But if I take the drawbar out and run it, nice and quiet. So it's the drawbar, rattling away. That'll be it. Alright, so now we'll put a spot drill in and at least spot drill them if I don't drill them over here. Or I could just go ahead and get a carbide. What size hole is that? If I get a carbide drill, it'll follow right through. Don't have it on my map. Gotta go over to the drawing itself. All right. Be nice if I could squeeze all four of them. If I can't squeeze them into this, then I'll wreck the other two. I'll have to do them all over again. It's going to be close. Might make it a little more difficult to part them out, though. Might have to think of a different way of parting out the second ones. Yep, it's going to make it. Cool. I won't be able to hold them straight. Well, I'll be able to hold the first two straight up, but then after that, well, actually I can hold all, it'll all be except for one. No. Not even that. I'll figure out a way. I'm actually drilling them holes. It's 90 centered and then 93 up, so that's no big deal. Didn't get very warm outside today. Pretty cool. Although I can't complain. December has been pretty nice, on and off. And so far, starting out in January here, it's been pretty nice on and off. Although we have the worst month coming up. February is usually the worst for as far as temperature. It's usually the cold month. First part of February anyway. Then we have the actual locking mechanism, locking arm that we have to do too, out of brass. I'm going to do it similar to this. I think it's going to finish fast now. This will be it for me for this evening, past supper time. should have made these parts out of steel though, so that the part that wears out would be the thimble or the spool instead of this, because you don't want these parts to wear out. You'd rather have the spool wear out. Easier to build, easier to make. But it's not going to run that much that it'll wear it out anyway. I got to get back on my hoglet when I get this done. Not my hoglet, my mini hog. And I'm going to tear it all the way down. Check it all out, put it all back together. There we go. And we'll just take it out of there. It's looking good, but now I'll be able to take the first two out by doing this from the back side, but then after that it'll be a little bit more difficult. A little bit of not exactly sure how I'm going to do that. Doing this, parting them out by putting them into vise like this, and then just milling that away. That works good for little parts like this. But when you got them hanging on there like that, well, I can go like this, part it halfway that way, and then clamp on the two parts, and then I'll get it. Piece of cake. No problem. I'll do that. We'll do that right away tomorrow, after I drill the holes in them. I'll drill the holes in them, and then we'll part them out of the block, and these parts will be done. So until then, we'll catch you later.